I think Todd Duffee is very explosive and he's a very powerful fighter. I think he fights with not great boxing intricacies. You know, the more I'm learning about boxing, the more I realize that, you know, he throws because he's a good athlete, and that has bonuses. You know, obviously he lands a punch, he hits people, he hits them hard. But that is a short-lived way to fight. It takes a lot of energy. He has to be in phenomenal shape. And I don't care how great a shape you were in, that's going to wear you out. To have to throw punches with as explosively and as hard as he does with his body, he's not doing it structural with frame. If most good boxers watch him, they see where his head is over his knees, how he lunges in on things, they'll sit there and go, yeah, the guy's fundamentals aren't there. Well, that's like being extremely fast. That's great in a football game, but you're going to get tired after a while because you're using so much muscular energy to move and do the things you're doing. Where you see like a Royce Jones Jr., who also is a world-class athlete, but that guy could box for 36 rounds. You know, you see a Mayweather who's a good athlete, is explosive and able to move because he's so structurally sound. The guy could fight like that. I mean, we could probably have him fight a 2-hour boxing match. Not because of being in phenomenal shape. I mean, the guy is in shape, but it's because he's structurally sound. When he throws a shot and he moves his hips, his feet, everything's under him, so his body's not as inefficient. He's not wasting energy. I still feel that, you know, I just turned 36. As an athlete in the heavyweight division, I'm more in the middle to younger side of it. And then the division overall, I think, just keeps improving. At the UFC, I think the sky's the limit. I think right now we keep knocking on those international doors to try to become more of a worldwide brand, not just, you know, here in the Americas, where, you know, obviously South America, North America, we're, you know, huge, but, you know, breaking over there also too and becoming repopularized, you know, again in Japan like we at one time MMA was. And then, you know, right now we've got, you know, Macau and whatnot, a couple fights there in China, and hopefully ended up into the Indian, you know, market would be a huge step.
Would we ever see you in a boxing ring?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually would be one of my goals. Obviously, you know, I'm under contract with the UFC, but, you know, when next time I have a contract negotiation, I'm hoping to work out something. Well, I think it just keeps getting more and more exciting. You know, the heavyweight division, we have the highest knockout percentage out of all the weight classes. And so you go out there and you know that somebody's going to get dropped, and knockouts there's excitement. You know, if you look at just the mainstream fan, the 80% of the people that just are coming there to watch an exciting fight, it might not understand the nuances and intricacies of a strategy going on. I mean, think about it. If you really watched, it was a very much of a mental combat between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, right? The way Mayweather was able to take him out of his positioning, able to try to nullify Pacquiao, who's so good at nullifying other people's footwork. You know, and so people were disappointed with the fight. Well, I think people that are phenomenal, you know, that understand boxing were very impressed how Mayweather makes him miss by an inch and moves in, is able to shut down different positions and maneuver in different ways. But people were like, oh, there was no knockout. So knockouts are always where it's at, and the better we get at boxing and MMA, we're only going to up the percentage that we already have in the heavyweight division. Well, I think that it shakes up the division anytime you have a very dominant champion, whoever's at the top of the food chain. And Cain Velasquez has been a very dominant champ. And on top of that, you know, his fights have been dominant, and he's been there a long time because of injuries. So he's kind of held onto the belt with not a lot of fights. Whereas you've seen, I mean, look, for example, Jose Aldo just defended his title in October. He's unable to defend it here in July, and it's already for an interim belt. He didn't get very long to sit there and wait. They're already creating another belt. They've given, you know, Velasquez a lot more time, and so not only has, when he has stepped in the octagon, the guy's dominated everybody except for his last fight, but he's also sat there for a while. So I think it shakes up the division and adds new blood. I mean, it definitely helps out Junior Dos Santos, who's, you know, vied. You know, he was able to win one time against him, but the last two outings came up and, you know, he just hit like a glass ceiling when it comes to Velasquez. So I think it opens up for him. And just, you know, like I said, anytime you have an incumbent champion removed, you know, and step out, that it just opens up for different matchups.